Hello there. It is October 14th, 2015, Wednesday, comic book day. I'm just going to be very upfront about this. I have not had a proper night's sleep in like over a week at this point, and I'm probably not going to get one tonight. But I am going to review some comic books and stay up as long as I can to do that because you guys are worth it. Especially you, Josh. You know who you are. Anyway, starting with Bat-Mite #5 by Dan Jurgens, and I forget the artist's name. Howell something says on the cover. Maybe we'll find out. Uh, Corin Howell. There we go. So in this book, Bat-Mite aims to help out a few more superheroes, and in this issue, he actually kind of helps. He runs into a team of superheroes, the Inferior Five, who are even more incompetent than Bat-Mite usually is. Um, we see them foil a bank robbery, or not a bank robbery, but a robbery, a burglary, mostly from pure luck. They don't have many actual skills and just kind of end up falling on top of the thieves who are working for lockup. Who's the guy? Um, Working Gridlock. That's the guy. Um, can you tell I'm tired? Um, but yeah, after they uh, mostly foil the robbery, but Gridlock gets away with the actual prize, Batmite decides to make this very incompetent team slightly more competent by reinventing them into the Superior Six, because now he's joining the team and he gives them all kind of nice costume reboots and all that. And Yeah, and things still manage to go a bit wrong, but not in quite the ways you might expect. Um, I'm still liking this book, I guess. I mean, it's a mini series, so we're 5 out of 6 issues in. There are parts of this that made me laugh. There's some good moments with the returning henchmen. Um, they're not quite the henchmen from Venture Brothers funny, but I mean, for what is ostensibly a comic for young children, it's probably good that these are not the henchmen from Venture Brothers. But yeah, it's an enjoyable book. It's funny enough, and I mean the art's great. I still just really love how cartoony the art is in this book, because I'm a sucker for cartoony things. Um, yep, that's pretty much Batmite issue 5. Not much to say there. Next up is Omega Men issue #5. Yeah, #5. I got the number correct again. Cool. I'm on a roll. So I just started this book last issue, so I'm still trying to catch up a little bit with the story. But from what I gather, there is a prisoner exchange going on at this temple, the Omega Temple, where the Omega Men, who are terrorists, are trading a kidnapped princess, the princess of the Citadel, who are after the Omega Men, for a shot at the Alpha Key, which is this magical or sacred artifact from the Church of Omega, or the Omega Church. Um, and they are trading their hostage, the princess. So one of their men, Brute, might would get a shot at basically pulling the sword from the stone. The Omega Key is locked inside this massive rock, and only the chosen one should be allowed to break the rock and get the key and have his wish granted. Um, so while this whole prisoner exchange thing is going on, while Brute get his chance at unlocking the key, which is kind of ironic. We also get a bit backstory of Brute. We find out that he is the basically the son of the Pope, the adopted son of the Pope of this church, and so aside from this just being part of his mission, It is also part of his redemption that he feels if he can break the rock and get the key, then he is worthy of his, being this very religious person, and that he has not failed as God after being excommunicated from his church for various offenses. While all this is happening, the team find out that they are surrounded. Where's that page? Here it is. Yeah, the team find out that they are surrounded by Citadel forces, that the Pope has actually made a deal with the Citadel forces, and they planned an ambush and all that. So the Omega Men are stuck in sacred ground. Their leader is not allowing them to fight back because of the sacred ground thing, because sanctuary, essentially, the laws of sanctuary. So the team has to hopefully get the key and then survive the ambush, and it gets pretty tense. It gets really down to the wire, and the end is a bit nebulous as far as did they get away, who's getting captured, if anybody, and what's going to happen from now after the events of this comic. This is a hard comic to jump in on. It feels very, very story driven. It's not so much. It's not a Batman. It's not a Superman. It's not the sort of thing you can jump in and really kind of understand everything that's going on. I've been trying to find the first 3 issues of this book, but I have not been able to. I think I might have to pick them up in trade. But I am interested in the story. It does seem it's very well written. I do like how they tied in this prisoner exchange to Brute as a singular character's story of redemption or mission for redemption. And they set that all up in this book, it seems. Like, you don't have to read the other books in order to get Brute's whole character and his whole motivation with this, which is very good. And there's still a few questions. There's still, as that I don't know whether they were answered in earlier issues or whether they're to be answered. But what is Kyle Rayner doing here? Why was he captured specifically? What is the Omega Men's plan for him? From the preview, from the issue zeros that happened right during the whole Convergence event, the rest of the universe thinks that Kyle Rayner has been murdered by the Omega Men. So I want to find out where that whole plan is going. So there's a lot of intrigue in this book. I'm really liking the story. I like the characters as far as I've been introduced to them. And the art's pretty good. It's not the best art I've ever seen, but it's far from the worst. And the character designs are really cool, too. Lots of different aliens and stuff like that. So, and the cover, again, is it's a great cover. Like, all the covers are kind of like these weird tourism posters. But, yeah. Enjoying Omega Men, and if you can find the first 3 issues, please tell me what happens, because I still don't know. Next up, a book I was very excited for this week, Lois and Clark. This is a limited series, I believe 12 issues, spinning out of Convergence. This one follows the Lois and Clark from the pre-52 universe, from the post-Infinite Crisis, pre-New 52 universe. And, I said this during Convergence, during the comics that focused on these characters, so I'm just going to readjust myself a little. That I really like having this Superman back. The more experienced, more idealistic kind of, my Superman. And I like seeing him back in books. I like, this is also Dan Jurgens, I just noticed. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I like seeing that. I like seeing Superman with the underwear, without all the armored costume and all that. I don't know, I like seeing him back in action, even in this limited role, and I'm really excited for this limited series. Issue 1, of course, has a bit of exposition explaining how Lois and Clark got to this dimension. It's revealed that Clark has been there the entire time, since Justice League number 1, all the way back in 2011, and he's been kind of keeping a watch over this dimension, and helping out where he can invisibly. He doesn't want to reveal himself. he doesn't want to really interfere in this world insofar as letting people know that there are two Supermen, but he's helping out in his own way. He's averting natural disasters that superheroes of this world aren't getting to. He's he's still being Superman, but he's letting the New 52 Superman be the Superman of this universe. He also has a child. He has a baby with Lois, who he named Jonathan, after his father, Jonathan Kent. It's revealed that Lois and Clark took up the surname White instead of Kent, so they are Lois and Clark White, which I'm guessing is a nod to Perry White of the Daily Planet, Superman, Clark Kent's editor. And we see young Jonathan kind of grow up. It's told a lot of this book is actually narrated by Lois, which is cool. It's not narrated by Superman. It's Lois kind of telling her side of these events, and we see Jonathan kind of grow up. And he doesn't have powers as far as we know, but I'm guessing that'll be a development. Maybe it's predictable, but otherwise, who really can tell? Maybe they're not going to do it and surprise everyone. I just like seeing these characters do their thing. As I said at the top of this review, I like ideal, optimistic, more experienced, kind of stronger moral center Superman. And we've been getting a little bit more of that in like Action Comics and stuff, but seeing the actual, the Superman I consider my Superman. I like seeing him back in action, and I like knowing that he's still around, even if in the main books we have a more kind of younger Superman handling things. So I guess I'm a little biased. Next up, we have Batman, issue 45. It looks like 42 in my camera, so I got confused there for a bit. Issue 45, and this is a very transitionary issue. It's solidly in the middle of this arc, I'm guessing. We start with a really cool moment. Just this first page, or these first two pages are really cool. I'm very tired. In the last issue we ended with Gordon cornered and trapped in a furnace, and in the beginning of this issue we find out how he gets out, and we start with just the best kind of opening to it's Genesis, it's the Bible, but it's in the beginning there was nothing, and then there was Batman, and he was good. And I just love these first panels where you see darkness and then the Batman eyes, the very distinctive, iconic kind of Batman squint sort of thing going on. And then we have Gordon crawling out of the fire. And it's just such a cool series of images. Such a cool thing going on. And then Gordon Batman gets saved by the Bat, who's running kind of on autopilot. Batman has the armor is Gordon's Robin in a way. Of course, they're not the only Robins running around. In this book, we also get a visit from Duke Thomas, representing the We Are Robin book. Let me skip to that scene over here. And Duke Thomas stops in and talks to Daryl on the Batman team about him being a Robin, a unauthorized Robin roaming the streets, and encourages Daryl to sign up and become a Robin just like he is. And it's cool that they're giving a nod to the We Are Robin book and tying that all together, especially because in books from the future that Scott Snyder's written, Duke Thomas does actually become the Robin, or a Robin rather, instead of just a We Are Robin. We also, again, this book is pretty packed. We also see Bruce Wayne still dealing with the fallout of his coming back to life without any of his memories. And he does this really interesting thing here where he's kind of doing a psychiatric review of the Bruce Wayne he was before he lost his memory. He still doesn't know all the details, of course, but he's piecing things together. And he mentions to Madison how he went back to Wayne Manor, and it seems that he didn't have a life before, that he went to Wayne Manor and Bruce Wayne has no pictures. He has no sign that Bruce Wayne was ever a person after coming back to Gotham. And how kind of unfulfilled and sad he must have been before forgetting everything. And then he does this really great thing at the end of this book, which I'm just going to show off. Because at the end, during Endgame, the Batcave was kind of infiltrated by Joker, and all the trophies were taken out. And now the trophies are just kind of laying around Gotham City, and Bruce Wayne's wondering, well, what are these things? What can we do with them? And he decides that instead of putting them back in the Batcave, because he doesn't know that's a thing anymore, he turns all of the Batman trophies into a playground for the children. And he says that these things aren't reminders, they're trophies, testaments to what the kids lived through. And he's putting that experience of, that he doesn't remember, being Batman, and claiming these as trophies and saying, no, they don't belong to me as Bruce Wayne Batman, they belong to the kids, they belong to Gotham, essentially. That these are the spoils of war for Gotham, not just for Batman. And I think it's like this really cool recontextualization of just the whole, it's always weird how Batman kept trophies in a way, and now like they're exploring that more, and they're doing it from Bruce Wayne. It's Bruce Wayne exploring and realizing, holy shit, I've been really silly, and he doesn't know he's been silly, but it's like this weird sort of, Batman being very self-reflexive because he finally has the opportunity to take a step back from his actions and thinking, well, what am I really doing here? And that's especially poignant after issue 44, I think, where that dealt with a lot more kind of societal troubles that a Batman couldn't solve. And now you have Bruce Wayne trying to solve that completely absent of Batman, and it's just a really cool thing, I think, that they got going for them here. So, not the best issue of Batman Snyder's ever written, but playing with a lot of cool ideas. And yeah, I mean, the Super Heavy arc, it's definitely an experiment, and it's exciting so far. I'm still really liking it. And lastly for DC this week is Batman and Robin Eternal issue number 2. I found out at Comic-Con that this is not a 52-issue mini series, it is a 26, so it's half the length of the original Batman Eternal, which is probably for the best. Probably, tell a more concise story with a bit less filler than was in Eternal. In the last issue, we ended with Orphan, who is Mother's big kind of dragon character, like, the head henchman, ambushing Harper Row, and in this issue we find out that Orphan gave Harper Row quite a beating. But luckily she is saved from death by Cassie Cain, Cassandra Cain, who is just so much kick-ass in this book. Cassandra Cain, they are bringing her in strong, and they are setting her up as a person who can totally hold her own. In the last issue, she fought and beat Dick Grayson in a fight, and now she is kicking Orphan's ass. And it is amazing to see this character who's been absent from the New 52 come back so strong, so capable, and with not a lot of setup. Just, saying to the readers, this is who Cass Cain is, she can beat up anybody, accept it. And it's just really, really cool. But we also catch up with Dick Grayson, who seems to be the main character in this book, as he's investigating the leads that he got from Cassandra Cain last issue, that he got kind of from Batman last issue, in a way, following the leads and investigating the Harper Row situation for himself. Dick Grayson, of course, has no idea who Harper Row is. He was dead during that whole thing that went on with him, with Harper and Batman. And so he goes to investigate, and kind of comes in a little late, a little after the initial fight, running into Orphan and Cassandra here after the fight, and decides to find out what's going on here. And there's this great moment where Spoiler and Harper Row are roommates, and so Dick Grayson goes to Harper's apartment. Spoiler sees him enter, gets in costume, and Dick Grayson's just like, "Who are all you people? When did all these, vigilantes pop out of the woodworks?" And it's just really fun as he's getting reintroduced to Gotham and seeing what's been changed. We also have a continuation of the flashback that started in the last issue of Batman and Robin's first go at Jonathan Crane, who the Scarecrow, and we see Dick's first experience with fear toxin, with the fear gas in this flashback, and we kind of see his insecurities as Robin played out due to fear gas, and I'm sure that'll be a driving motivation throughout this book. What does Dick Grayson feel is his contribution to the Batman legacy? And that's pretty much it. Then the book, it doesn't end there, but I don't want to spoil the whole thing. We'll find out next week when I talk about issue 3. But I'm still liking where the story is going. I like the focus on Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson is my second favorite Bat character after Alfred. So I always like it when he gets to focus on a book. I like how we're seeing things through his eyes, how we're seeing Gotham, again, taking like a step back and then stepping back in as someone fresh-faced, or not fresh-faced, but someone who hasn't been keeping up with the recent developments, and just, it is kind of nuts how we have so many superheroes running around Gotham now, and they're nobody that Dick knows. It's all new people. So that's pretty cool. And then, of course, we have the intrigue about Orphan, about Mother, that's not as built up in this issue. This is mainly just kind of getting the team together of Dick, Harper, not Cassandra Cain so much. She's still kind of rogue, but Stephanie Brown, Dick, Harper, and then eventually Tim Drake enters the book. So yeah, issue 2, not as strong as issue 1, but issue 1 was the introduction. This is kind of actually building up the story they're going to tell, so probably less kind of exciting, but not a reason to drop the book, in my opinion. And that is it for the DC books this week. There should be 2 more parts to this week's reviews. We have the Marvel books, a Dynamite book, the finale to Swords of Sorrow, and then a few indie books, which will be the 3rd part of this video. I hope you'll join me for those reviews, but before that, I want to thank you for watching this part. Like, subscribe, all that other junk, any comments, questions, anything whatsoever, please leave them down below and I will try and get to them. Again, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me for some more comic book reviews.